everybody, this is the first trial with lot of requests from Amog and Unnati and everybody to finish the live class. I really don't know whether it comes out well or not. So please be free to write in the chat box or in the message box whether you can see things and you want this way to happen or not. Or otherwise I will record. And regarding Mihir, Meera and Pratiksha, we will set up a time from tomorrow which may be comfortable to you all also. Okay. So first, because we are starting something new and I don't know how long it continues, we will today start with the chapter which is called as aldehydes, ketones and carboxylic acid. Aldehyde, ketones and carboxylic acids. This is a very nice chapter, but most of you, seeing the length of the chapter, tend to basically avoid this chapter. You don't really like this chapter because I think it is the biggest chapter of all the chapters present in the second book. So please make sure that you read these chapters. I really don't know what are you up to. Stop it. Okay, so basically we need to always give importance to this chapter as a lot of questions from CET as well as from all competitive exams come from this chapter. I know a little part of ethers is left from alcohol, phenols and ethers, which I will send a recorded class in YouTube as usual. Today we are starting with aldehyde, ketones and carboxylic acid. So the first part we will talk about aldehydes and ketones. All these three compounds basically have a prominent C double bond O group. You know, an aldehyde can be written as R C double bond O H. A ketone can be written as R C double bond O, and an acid can be written as R C double bond O, single bond O and single bond H. Why all these three compounds are basically placed together is because all three of them have a prominent C double bond O or what group? Carbonyl group. So these compounds are called as carbonyl compounds. Okay? So this is RCHO is aldehyde, RCOR is a ketone and RCOOH is an acid or carboxylic acid. So we have to study aldehyde, ketones and carboxylic acid. Now let us start with important aldehyde, ketones and carboxylic acids. When I talk about carboxylic acid, because I have to study in detail carboxylic acid, I should also know all the acid derivatives. When I say carboxylic acid, it is written as what? RCOOH. Okay? This RCOOH, first acid derivative, I remove the OH and add what? X. This X can be what? Cl, Br or I. Okay, so the compound now becomes what? RCOX. This is called as acid halide. And in IUPAC, it is named as alkanoyl halide. Okay, it is named as what? Alkanoyl halide. Let us take an example of this compound. This is our first acid derivative. The acid derivative name is acid halide. Let us write the first compound CH3COCl. Okay, so this is a derivative from ethanoic acid. If it is derived from ethanoic acid, it has how many carbon atoms? 2 carbon atoms. So it is called as what? Ethanoyl chloride. In common name, this group CH3COCl acyl chloride. Some also call its common name as acetyl chloride. So the first member CH3COCl is called as ethanol chloride. It is also called as acyl chloride or acetyl chloride. The test to find out CH3CO group we will study again, but for all practical purposes, if I have to test the presence of CH3CO group, I use what test? Iodoform test, CET per colleague. To study the presence of CH3CO group in any compound, I always use what test? Iodoform test. Understood till here? So my first acid derivative is acid halide, which in IUPAC is called as alkanoyl halide. Formula is RCOX. Now let us talk about the second acid derivative. The second acid derivative is amide, which is also called as acid amide. Okay, in IUPAC it is called as alkanamide. Now, how do we start? We start again with RCOOH. It loses OH and you add to it NH2. So it becomes what? RCONH2. RCONH2 is called as alkanamide. So if I have to write an example, let us write CH3CONH2. This has how many carbon atoms? 2 carbon atoms. So it is called as what? Ethanamide. Common name, because it is a derivative of acetic acid, it is called acetamide. Don't get confused with amines. Amines will not have the CO part. If I just write CH3NH2, it is methanamide. Whereas, if I write CH3CONH2, this is called as what? Ethanamide. If I write, let us suppose, HCONH2, this is called as IUPAC name methanamide, because it is a derivative of methanoic acid, or it is called as formamide. Why it is called formamide? Because it is a derivative of a common acid, formic acid. Now we will talk about the third acid derivative, which is called esters. Okay, now we will talk about the third acid derivative, which are called esters. We all have studied esters are fruity smelling compounds. Isn't it? These esters are primarily used in essence. They are also used as flavoring agents. So how is an ester made? From an acid RCOOH, remove the H and add R dash. I am taking a different R. It can be an R, similar one to this, or it can be a different one. So we will write it as RCOO R dash. Okay. The IUPAC name of this compound is alkyl alkanoate. The IUPAC name of this compound is alkyl alkanoate. Always understand, if there are two different alkyl groups, then the lower alkyl group means with less number of carbon atom. Anything which has less number of carbon atom goes to the alkyl part, and the larger alkyl group goes as alkanoate. Okay? Esters are named as alkyl alkanoate. In common names, they are named as two alkyl groups with an ester. Let us understand the naming of a simple ester. The most common ester which we generally talk about is CH3, COO, CH3. Divide it here. common name? Its common name is dimethyl ester. Okay, let us take one more with two different alkyl groups. Let us write CH3, COO, C2H5. Or let me change it and write so that you don't get confused. C2H5, COO, CH3. There is one alkyl group which is CH3. There is another alkyl group which is C2H5. So here the lower alkyl group becomes what part? Alkyl part. And the higher alkyl group becomes what? Alkanoate part. What is the compound's name? It is methyl 2 and 1 3. It is called what? Propanoate. Methyl propanoate. Understood? IUPAC name, the common name of this compound will be ethyl methyl ester. It will never be methyl ester because Me comes before M. So this is how we name the third acid derivative, which are called esters. Now we will talk about the fourth acid derivative, which are called anhydrides. The fourth acid derivatives, which are called what? Anhydride. Anything when I say it is anhydrous, it means it is devoid of water. When I say anything is anhydrous, that means it is devoid of what? Water. So when I take two molecules of an acid and I heat it, I lose what? One molecule of water of crystallization, or rather one molecule of water from the acid. Okay, it results in the formation of a crystalline anhydride. So it forms what? RCO. There is RCO and an O. This can be written as RCO twice O. Okay. The only difference here in this compound naming is you will not count the total number of carbon atom, but we will count only the number of carbon atom in one molecule. Let us suppose I write, okay, how it is named? It is named as acid anhydride. Named exactly as acid anhydride, or it is named as, how you write? Ethanoic anhydride. Whatever is the name of the acid, the same name. So you write it as alkanoic anhydride. Let us suppose we write CH3CO and we write CH3CO and O. This should not be called as ethanoic anhydride, but should be written as what? Ethanoic anhydride. Why it should be written as ethanoic anhydride? Because you will count only the number of carbon atoms in one molecule. So this is basically the four acid derivatives. Let us open our textbooks to page number 349. You should carry a textbook with me whenever you have a class. So basically we are going to read the first part of it. But before I start reading, please message, is everything okay? Is everything okay? Yeah. So in the previous unit you have studied organic compounds with functional groups containing carbon-oxygen bond. In this unit we shall study about organic compounds containing carbon-oxygen double bond, which is called the carbonyl group. Before only I taught aldehyde, ketones and carboxylic acid all have got what? A prominent carbonyl group, which is C double bond O group. In aldehydes, the carbonyl group is bonded to carbon and hydrogen, while in ketone it is bonded to two carbon atoms. The carbonyl compound in which carbonyl group is bonded to oxygen is known as carboxylic acid and their derivatives. So the four carboxylic acid derivatives which we studied was acid halide, acid amide, esters and anhydride. You can see all their structures below. Okay. Aldehydes, ketones and carboxylic acid are widespread in plant and animal kingdom. They play a very important role in biochemical processes of life. They add fragrance and flavor to nature. For example, here please underline, this is very important for CET. Vanillin, which is from vanilla beans, salicylic from meadow sweet, and cinnamaldehyde from cinnamon have very pleasant fragrances. Very, very important, generally asked in competitive exams. So vanillin is basically obtained from a vanilla bean. It is an aldehyde. We will talk about salicylic, as the name suggests, it is an aldehyde obtained from meadow grass, as well as cinnamaldehyde is an unsaturated aldehyde which is obtained from cinnamon. Structures of these are very, very, very important for competitive exams. So let us talk about vanillin. Vanillin basically is an aromatic aldehyde. You know, vanilla essence or vanilla basically smells and has a very good fragrance. So this has to be an aromatic compound. So it is an aromatic aldehyde. If I write like this, it basically means what? It is a benzaldehyde. It has an OH group at the para position, and it has at its meta position an ethyl group, so OCH3. This compound is called as vanillin. This vanillin gives a very beautiful fragrance, and it is an aromatic aldehyde obtained basically from vanilla beans or from vanilla pods. Okay, the next important compound which is obtained, which is salicylic, which is obtained from meadow grass. You know, salicylic is phenol with a CHO. You can interchange the position of CHO and OH. You can write salicylic like this, the parent compound being benzaldehyde and a hydroxybenzaldehyde. So this is called as what? This is called as basically salicylic. It is a very fragrant compound obtained from meadow grass. Now we have to talk about cinnamaldehyde. Cinnamaldehyde also an aromatic aldehyde, which is an unsaturated aromatic aldehyde. So let us understand the structure. You have to remember that cinnamaldehyde has got CH, double bond CH, or rather I will write it as CHO. So this is the cinnamaldehyde. This is obtained from cinnamon, that is chakke, which we generally use for making all kinds of masalas. So this compound is vanillin. This compound salicylic obtained from meadow grass, vanillin obtained from vanilla beans, and this is cinnamaldehyde which is obtained from vanilla. They are used in many food products and pharmaceuticals to add flavors. Some of these families are manufactured for use as solvents. We all know acetone is a nail polish remover. Acetone is a very important solvent. It is obtained as a byproduct in cumene process for the manufacture of phenol. And for preparing materials like adhesive, paints, resins, perfumes, plastic and fabric. Now we will talk about naming of all aldehydes. So let us write our heading, nomenclature of aldehydes. So the first part, what I explained was that aldehyde, ketones and carboxylic acid have a prominent C double bond O group. So they are called as what group? Carbonyl group. Even carboxylic acid have a prominent CO group along with an OH group. Aldehydes and ketones and acid derivatives. We studied aldehyde is RCHO, ketone is RCOR, acid is RCOOH. We also studied acid halide as RCOX. I'm writing so that you really remember it, because this is what? Aldehyde, this is a ketone, this is an acid, this carboxylic acid or alkanoic acid. This is acid halide, mainly called as alkanoyl halide or acid chloride. You have RCONH2 as an amide. You have RCO twice O as an anhydride, and you have RCOOR as an ester. So these four are acid derivative, acid, ketone and an aldehyde. So you now know the functional group. Aldehydes are named as alkanal. ketones are named as alkenone. RCOOH is named as alkanoic acid. Ethanoaldehyde, acid amide or alkanamide, acid anhydride, and alkyl alkanoate. This naming has to be very clear. Okay? Now let us write naming of aldehydes or nomenclature of aldehydes. Nomenclature of aldehydes. Okay, so when we talk about nomenclature of aldehydes, please write they are generally known by their common names. Aldehydes are generally known by their common names and branching in the aldehyde mainly in common system. Branching in the aldehyde mainly in the common system is named as, this is the functional group. The carbon next to the functional group is named as alpha. The next is beta, then it is gamma, then it is delta. So this is how it is named. If anything is attached here, so it becomes alpha chloro. But alpha, beta, gamma and delta are only in common system of nomenclature. In IUPAC system of nomenclature, you will again write it as 1, 2, 3, 4 and alkanal. Clear? So you know the suffix added is al and the prefix added to any aldehyde is formyl. The suffix added to any aldehyde is al. That is why we write them as alkanal. And the suffix added is al. The prefix added to it, if you are taking it as a substituent, which is when an aldehyde and an acid are present together. So if an aldehyde and an acid are present together, the parent chain is an alkanoic acid. The CHO group which is attached to it stays as a substituent and it is remembered or named as formyl. Understood? It happens only when the aldehyde is present with an acid, because according to the column of priorities, you will find that acids get more preference. Clear? Now we will talk about common aldehydes and common ketones. First about aldehydes. The first aldehyde we all know is HCHO. Common name is called as formaldehyde. And as it has only one carbon atom, its IUPAC name is methanol. Its IUPAC name is methanol. Please write 40% of formaldehyde in water. 40% of formaldehyde. You can write here only 40% of formaldehyde in water is called formalin, which is used to preserve biological specimen. Which is used to preserve biological specimen. So very important. We know HCHO is called as formaldehyde. It is also called as methanol. 40% of formaldehyde in water is called formalin, which is basically used to preserve what? Biological specimen. Now we will talk about the next aldehyde, which is again a very common aldehyde. You know what is the heading to be written over it? It is the formula, common name and the IUPAC name. So the next thing is CH3CHO. It is an aldehyde of acetic acid. So it IUPAC name is ethanol. Okay. Now we will talk about the next compound. Let us say CH3, CH2, CHO. Okay. There is how many carbon atom? 3 carbon atom. Common name propion aldehyde. Please be sure because the common name is propionic acid, so it is propion aldehyde. Okay. Now we will talk about its IUPAC name. Its IUPAC name is what? Propanal or propane 1-al. One and the same. It is called propanal or propane 1-al. Let us now talk about the next compound. I am talking about very simple compounds which you can very easily write. It is called as butyl aldehyde. Or this is called as butane 1-al. Always remember, I am not going to send any slides as I am teaching on the board. If you don't write along with me, your classes, you will never have a record of what you study. So make sure you really write along with me. Otherwise, it is very difficult. If by any chance you are not able to attend the class, then we have to think of recording the class and sending you the recording. But make sure you write along with me. Whenever you come for my classes, you should have a textbook with you. You should always have a notebook with you. Otherwise, organic chemistry cannot be learned. So now, for further more compounds, slightly now, these are all very simple compounds. Now we will go to the next compound, which is CH3 twice CHO. Let us understand, we are writing the compound CH3 twice CHO. When such a compound is given, we will start from this carbon atom. This carbon atom has an H. It has at 2 places CH3 and CH3, and it has a CHO. I should always take the longest possible chain, including the functional group. So 1, 2, 3. This becomes my parent chain. At my parent chain or in my parent chain at the second position, I have what? Methyl group. So my name of the compound, it cannot have a common name. To be precise, I'll tell you how the common name is also decided, but we would prefer an IUPAC name. So its IUPAC name will be what? 2-methyl propanal. 2-methyl propane 1-al or 2-methyl propanal. Okay, now look at the chain. This is my normal chain. This has one-sided branching. So this is called as what? Iso. How many total compounds? Total carbon atom? 4. So this is called as what? Isobutyl aldehyde. It is called as what? Isobutyl aldehyde. Generally, we prefer to write for these compounds what? These compounds, we always tend to write its IUPAC name. If I still want to write in common names of alpha and beta, so this is my first carbon functional group. This is, so I write alpha methyl propion aldehyde, or I can even write it as isobutyl aldehyde. Now let us talk about the next compound, which is very important. So I am doing all important compounds where you can go wrong. So the next naming is CH3, CH, you have an OCH3 and a CHO. We have to write the name of this compound. Okay, so the compound can be written as, this means it's a substituent. So we will write in the simplified form CH3, CH, OCH3 and CHO. This is the name of the compound, this is the structure of the compound. We will always name it from here, 1, 2, 3. So it is, this is called as what group? It is an ether, it is called as methoxy. So name of the compound, 2 2-methoxypropanol. IUPAC name 2-methoxypropanol. 2-methoxypropanol. Or now again we will take this as functional group. This has what carbon atom? Alpha carbon atom. So the common name will be alpha methoxy propion aldehyde. Alpha methoxy, it will be called as propion aldehyde. IUPAC name, it is called as 2-methoxypropanol. Okay. Now let us talk about the next compound, which is again a very important compound. You have used it in polymers. So let us talk about this compound. CH2 double bond CH-CHO. CH2 double bond CH-CHO. Let us first check if all four valencies are satisfied. So you have CH2 double bond CH and you have C double bond O and an H. Look, all carbon should have 4 bonds. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is proper. Now we will number it. 1, 2, 3. Correct? So it is proper. 2-ene. Correct? Pro-2-ene. At the second position you have double bond. Al is at first position. 2-ene, 1-al. Please write pro-2-ene, 1-al. Do you remember the name of this compound? Do you remember the name of this compound? This compound is commonly called as acrolein. Somebody said. Who said? Very good, Umati. It is commonly called as acrolein. Okay. So CH2 double bond CHCO. It is commonly called as acrolein, and its IUPAC name is pro-2-ene, 1-al. Now we will talk about next compound in naming. Let us write CH3, CH2, CH2, CH2 and CHO. A very very simple compound. Common name के लिए इसको पढ़ा रही हूँ. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Name of the compound? Pentanal or pentane 1-al. It is called as what? Pentanal. Fine. And its common name, very very important. It is called valeraldehyde. Very important common name called as what? Valeraldehyde. Now, as I said, another compound whose name we have to write with CHO. I taught to some, I think yesterday, same thing once again. This is a very very important compound. Mark it as important. Has been asked in CBSE board multiple times. Okay? This is not a compound where you will take these carbon atoms, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 I can name. But what do I do to this carbon atom? I cannot. So I only number what chain? The parent chain. So this is called as what? Propane 1, 2, 3 tricarbaldehyde. This is what? Aldehyde. Okay? So this will be called as propane 1, 2, 3 tricarbaldehyde. This is a very important question that has been asked multiple times in naming in board. Okay, particularly in CBSE board. I cannot name this compound as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because I have another one at the center and I cannot go like this and again link it. So it is only taken as the parent chain and it is named as propane 1, 2, 3 tricarbaldehyde. Now let us study one more compound. Let us write the name of CH3, CH2, CH2, CHBr and CH3 and CH2CHO. Okay, so we have to name this compound. Kindly message, write the name of the compound or speak up the compound. You basically have to write numbering from here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now I want to know the name of the compound. Name of the compound, please, if anyone could say.
4-bromo-3-pentyl P-methyl
Heptanal. Very good. The name of the compound is 4-bromo-3-methyl heptanal. So from here the number, because aldehyde gets the first preference, we do not write it as 3-methyl first because Br comes alphabetically first. So it is 4-bromo-3-methyl heptanal. Now we will go into the naming of aromatic aldehydes. Please write heading nomenclature of aromatic aldehydes. Okay, so we will first start with the parent aldehyde, which is what? CHO. This is called as what? Benzaldehyde. This is called as benzaldehyde. How can you identify benzaldehyde? You can identify benzaldehyde because have you any day smelled almond oil? Almond oil has got a very kahi smell. Okay, so a benzaldehyde, if it is given in the test tube and you basically have a very clear nose that day, so you can smell benzaldehyde by the smell of bitter almonds. So kahi almonds or any almond oil, how it smells exactly like that. So benzaldehyde, please note it down, it has a smell of bitter almonds. Okay, so this is the example of benzaldehyde. Now this compound only I will add bromine. Please rewrite again when you write. You have a CHO and a Br. So this will be called as what? In common system of nomenclature, you know this is ortho, this is meta, this is para. So this will be called as what? Meta-bromo-benzaldehyde. Common name meta-bromo-benzaldehyde. What is its IUPAC name? Its IUPAC name basically, this is 1, 2, 3. So it is called as what? 3-bromo-benzaldehyde. It is called as 3-bromo-benzaldehyde. Meta-bromo-benzaldehyde or 3-bromo-benzaldehyde. Okay? Now we will talk about the next compound. We have all studied phthalic acid. So we will let us understand if you can remember phthalic acid somewhere and write. So name this compound. CHO. Please name this compound. This is an anhydride of phthalic acid. Okay, IUPAC name. See, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5 and this is 6. So this compound can also be written as benzene 1, 2. How many times CHO? 2 times. 2. So it is called as 1,2-carbadicarbonaldehyde. You can write it as 1,2-dicarbonaldehyde. So this is basically an aromatic aldehyde which is very important. Okay, it is benzene 1,2-dicarbonaldehyde. This is, I said, if there was COH, it becomes what acid? Phthalic acid. So this is common name is aldehyde. Please Right. PH, PHTH, PHTH, aldehyde. Okay. So one more example for nomenclature of aldehydes. We will write now next. I think we did meta-bromobenzaldehyde. So this is all about the nomenclature of aldehydes. Okay. We will have our class tomorrow on nomenclature of ketones. Please message in the group if everything was okay and if you want the class to be like this or you want a recorded class.